Chapter 268, Friends visit. Edgar accepted the token respectfully, his fingers gripping it securely, fully understanding its significance. He bowed respectfully, determination etched into his every movement. "As you command, Master Eldrick. I will ensure it is done swiftly and discreetly." Eldrick nodded slightly, dismissing him with a subtle gesture. Edgar turned smoothly, exiting the room with purposeful steps, leaving Eldrick standing alone within the quiet shadows of his study. As the door softly clicked shut behind Edgar, Eldrick's eyes returned to the crown in the corner, his expression darkening further. The polished wood seemed to mock him silently, a painful reminder of the brutal intrigues and ruthless struggles that defined the lives of nobles and royalty alike. "Some noble houses need to learn a painful lesson," Eldrick murmured softly, almost to himself. His voice was calm, yet a chilling edge of restrained fury underscored each word. Even if the lunatics of the Insanity Creed didn't fully grasp Fiora's background, there is no way those noble houses remained ignorant. Yet they chose to aid the Creed, betraying us and the stability of Thunder Peak Kingdom itself. This is merely karma returning to them. Blame yourselves, House Delmeyer, for daring to move against us. His quiet declaration echoed softly through the silent chamber, absorbed by the heavy books, scrolls, and the weight of history surrounding him. Eldrick exhaled slowly, collecting his thoughts. His heart was heavy, burdened by the necessity of ruthless measures, yet he harbored no regret. Orion's safety, and by extension, the safety of their entire household, was paramount. Exhaling a soft breath, Eldrick returned his attention to the scattered documents on his desk, each carefully annotated and marked with precise notes. His eyes narrowed again, once more analyzing potential threats and calculating his next moves, quietly preparing to counter any further attempts on their lives. In this moment, he remembered the brutal nature of noble households. And he decided to not hesitate again. The study returned to its calm peace as Eldrick began turning the scrolls and documents. Several days passed quietly within the imposing walls of the Hellstorm estate. Outside, the vast gardens bloomed vibrantly, the neatly manicured hedges and fountains a picture of calm elegance. Yet inside the mansion, an air of subtle tension lingered, a quiet heaviness noticeable even to the attentive servants who moved silently through the polished corridors. One bright morning, the peaceful silence was broken by a carriage slowly drawing to a halt before the majestic front gates of the Hellstorm mansion. Out stepped Arya and Amelia, their graceful figures exuding refined nobility. Arya wore her usual confident expression, tempered only by a slight crease of concern across her brow, while Amelia's eyes held gentle worry behind her composed exterior. The heavy wooden gate of the mansion opened soundlessly, revealing Edgar, standing tall and poised, his demeanor calm and respectful. He offered them a courteous bow. "Lady Arya, Lady Amelia, it's a pleasure to see you. To what do we owe this visit?" Arya stepped forward, her gaze calm, voice soft yet firm. "I want to ask about Brother Orion. He hasn't come to the academy for the past few weeks. It isn't unusual for him to vanish for a few days, but it's been far too long this time. We were worried." Amelia nodded gently, a hint of concern visible on her face. "Please, Sir Edgar, is Orion all right?" Edgar's expression softened slightly, sensing their genuine concern. With practiced ease of lying, he spoke reassuringly, his tone steady. "Young Master Orion is perfectly fine. He's currently engaged in special training outside the capital, personally overseen by Master Eldrick's trusted friend. He simply couldn't pass up such an invaluable opportunity." Arya's tension visibly eased, and Amelia exhaled softly in relief. Both nodded with understanding, and a renewed determination flashed in Arya's eyes. "I see," Arya spoke decisively. "If Brother Orion is undergoing special training, we must redouble our own efforts. Tell Brother Orion we will be ready when he returns." Amelia smiled warmly, her voice gentle yet resolute. "Indeed. Thank you, Sir Edgar. We won't impose any further." As the two young women left, Edgar watched thoughtfully. He admired the unspoken bond Orion had forged with his peers. It was remarkable how deeply they trusted and respected him. The next day, a quieter, more hesitant presence approached the gates. NYSS walked carefully, her nervous steps faltering slightly as she entered the grand foyer. Edgar welcomed her kindly, sensing her nervousness. "Young Miss NYSS, how may I assist you?" Edgar asked calmly, yet he stayed a few steps away from her due to how much he had heard about her. NYSS opened her mouth, fearing for the worst. "Orion, is he all right?" Edgar raised an eyebrow, the rumors about her flashing past his mind. "Young Master Orion is all right. Right now, he's undergoing important training outside the capital. I'll be sure to inform him of your visit once he arrives back." Relief and quiet disappointment mixed in NYSS's gentle gaze, yet she nodded silently, understanding Edgar's words. She wanted to meet him, but from the looks of it, she would have to wait more. Turning around, she left towards her own estate. On the third day, a distinctly different figure appeared hesitantly at the mansion gates. Elias stood nervously, his normally confident posture slightly hunched, eyes darting anxiously around the opulent surroundings. He swallowed hard, summoning every ounce of courage as he approached Edgar waiting calmly at the entrance. Good day, Sir Edgar," Elias greeted nervously, voice slightly unsteady. I'm Elias, Orion's friend from the academy. I've come to see how he's doing, if that's all right." Edgar chuckled in amusement, his voice calm and welcoming. "Of course, Master Elias. Young Master Orion has spoken highly of you. Unfortunately, he's currently away, undergoing special training under Master Eldric's trusted acquaintance." Elias relaxed visibly, the tight anxiety leaving his shoulders. He nodded slowly, determination replacing his earlier uncertainty. "Special training, huh? I'll work harder too, then. Please let Orion know I was here, and that I'll match his pace." Edgar nodded approvingly. "I shall indeed convey your message." Over the next few days, others arrived, each visitor bringing their unique blend of worry and resolve. Sylvia and Philyra came together, elegant yet subtly anxious, gracefully asking about Orion's well-being. When Edgar explained Orion's absence, Philyra's eyes brightened with newfound determination. "Special training. Orion truly never stops," Philyra murmured thoughtfully. Sylvia exchanged a meaningful glance with her companion. "We must increase our efforts too, or he'll leave us far behind." He left me far behind already." "You should be worrying about this," Philyra said in a worry-free voice before turning around and leaving. Sylvia exhaled a breath and turned around to leave as well. Finally, Kale appeared at the gates. He seemed much more calm than Elias as he approached the gate. His dark eyes held a deep resolve as Edgar explained Orion's absence and rigorous training. Kale listened silently, merely nodding before speaking in his usual composed voice. "Please inform Orion that I'll be awaiting his return. He shouldn't forget what he made this club for." Edgar raised an eyebrow in surprise. It wasn't every day that he heard someone talk about Orion like this. He nodded his head appreciatively. "Your message will be delivered precisely." Chapter 269, Forget. As each member of Orion's club visited, Edgar entertained some of them courteously in the lavish main hall, its high ceiling and elaborate decorations adding to the weight of their conversations. He repeated the same gentle explanation to each, marveling inwardly at how much Orion had inspired these talented youths. When the last of them departed, Edgar stood alone in the expansive hall, contemplating thoughtfully. Each had responded not with disappointment, but rather with renewed resolve, inspired by Orion's supposed intensive training. Edgar felt quite amused and also proud. Orion had unknowingly set off a ripple of motivation through his peers, fostering growth even in his absence without moving a muscle. Returning to his duties, Edgar mentally noted each visitor's name and words, determined to inform Orion of their heartfelt intentions once he wakes up. For now, he could only hope the young master would wake up soon after his evolution. As the sun set outside, casting a warm golden hue through the mansion's grand windows, Edgar walked quietly down the hallway. His footsteps echoed softly upon polished marble floors. Despite the recent turmoil, the estate remained steadfast, held together by Eldric's firm decisions. Inside his room, Edgar carefully recorded each visitor's words in neat, concise notes. Finishing, he gently closed the journal, contemplating the weight of responsibility Orion now carried, and quietly admired how even his brief absence could motivate others to strive harder. He sighed softly, feeling a gentle sense of satisfaction and pride. Truly, young Master Orion, your presence, or even your absence, ignites something remarkable in those around you, Edgar murmured quietly, smiling faintly. I look forward to seeing how far they all will go when you finally return. And now, about time I give House Duskvale a visit, he said with a determined expression before exiting the mansion and heading toward the quiet corner of the second ring where no one visits. Back inside the estate, at another corner of the mansion, tucked away from the bustle and grandeur of its main halls, a small room basked quietly in warm sunlight. It was modestly furnished but carefully arranged, reflecting the delicate care that the mansion's staff had taken in looking after its single occupant, Seraph. Sitting quietly beside her favorite spot near the window, Seraph's gaze often lingered hopefully on the room's door. Her eyes, which once held a timid spark of warmth, gradually dimmed as the days passed slowly and without event. Each morning, she would awaken with the quiet hope that today would be the day Orion finally visited her. The days blended into each other seamlessly, becoming indistinguishable, soft sunlight filtering through sheer curtains, warm baths, carefully prepared meals eaten in silence, and long, quiet hours spent patiently tracing letters upon parchment, whispering hesitant words to an empty room. Her existence grew more subdued with each passing sunset that brought no news of Orion's return. One day passed, 2 days, 3 days, then a week. Still, no familiar footsteps echoed down the corridor to her chamber. Each evening, Seraph's quiet sighs grew heavier, filled with uncertainty and self-doubt. Her hesitant whispers gradually faded, her diligent attempts at speech growing softer as worry consumed her determination. 2 weeks passed in much the same quiet melancholy. Her emerald eyes, once filled with gentle anticipation, now revealed a deeply hidden sadness, veiled behind layers of quiet acceptance. Seraph began to question herself quietly, did he truly forget me? Her heart grew heavier with the painful doubt she dared not voice aloud. At the end of the 3rd week, driven by desperation and quiet anxiety, Seraph finally summoned every ounce of courage within her. She waited nervously, her gaze anxiously fixed upon the door, awaiting the familiar knock that signaled the maid's arrival with her evening meal. Her slender fingers clenched the edge of her simple gown, knuckles white with the effort to steady her trembling heart. A gentle knock finally resonated through the room, startling her slightly despite her anticipation. The door creaked open, revealing the same kind-faced maid who had looked after her these past weeks, holding a tray laden with fruits, vegetables, and steaming soup. The maid offered her a gentle smile, placing the tray carefully on the table. Your dinner, Miss Seraph. Before the maid could quietly go back, Seraph opened her mouth, her voice trembling, barely above a whisper but audible in the silent room. Orion, is he back? The maid turned, mildly surprised by Seraph's sudden voice. Her gentle features softened sympathetically, shaking her head slowly. I'm sorry, Miss Seraph. Young Master Orion is still away, training outside the capital, that's all I've heard. Seraph's heart sank heavily, her slender shoulders visibly deflating. She lowered her gaze quietly, nodding softly, whispering with difficulty, thank you. The maid hesitated, clearly wishing to offer comfort, yet knowing not how. She quietly excused herself, leaving Seraph alone again, the quiet click of the closing door echoing softly in the stillness. Left alone, Seraph gazed numbly at the untouched meal before her. Her appetite had vanished entirely, replaced by a lingering, empty ache deep within her chest. Orion had truly forgotten her, she thought sorrowfully, the painful doubt settling heavily into her fragile heart. Time passed slowly yet relentlessly after that painful day. Her daily routine persisted, mechanical and joyless, each passing moment deepening her melancholy. Quietly, her speech practice gradually dwindled, words becoming fewer, softer, and eventually silent altogether. The parchments remained untouched, neatly stacked and gathering dust. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Seraph's world gradually shrank smaller, confined to her chamber, the window, and the unchanging view of gardens she no longer truly saw. Her gaze, once filled with hopeful longing, became distant, resigned to Orion's continued absence. Months passed by in a quiet haze. Occasionally, she would still find herself staring blankly at the gates, faintly hoping against all reason to glimpse Orion's familiar figure walking toward the mansion. Yet each time, the familiar ache deepened, the pain of disappointment becoming numbingly familiar. Her gentle thoughts often turned inward, wondering silently to herself, perhaps Orion no longer needs me. Perhaps he truly forgot me. Her chest tightened painfully at the thought, tears she rarely allowed herself slowly tracing silent trails down her pale cheeks. Eventually, Seraph quietly retreated further inward, her presence becoming a ghostly shadow within the mansion's gentle halls. She spoke less frequently, even her fragile whispers fading to silence, her voice locked away once more by a sadness she couldn't voice. Her gentle green eyes, now clouded with quiet resignation, rarely left the confines of her modest room. Yet despite the loneliness, beneath the crushing weight of her sorrow and doubt, a tiny, fragile ember of hope stubbornly endured, buried deeply within her heart. A part of her, no matter how small, refused entirely to abandon Orion's memory. She clung desperately to that fragile thread, a quiet promise whispered silently within her soul, one day, he'll return. And so, Seraph continued to wait, quietly enduring, existing silently within her quiet room, a delicate ghost whose presence barely stirred the gentle mansion's peace. A few months passed quietly, her hope fading slowly but never completely extinguished. Deep inside, Seraph held on to the quiet belief that perhaps, just perhaps, Orion had not truly forgotten her after all.